Hey guys, thank you for stopping by. My name is Ams, and today we're gonna be talking about my favorite shoujo, anime and manga of all time. If you guys are new here, I'm from India and I consider myself to be a huge fan of anime and manga as an art form. By a huge fan, I mean a huge fan of all sorts of genres and all sorts of demographics, including shoujo, anime, and manga. Shoujo is at a very difficult position right now. It's a demographic that's been misunderstood for a very long time by the mainstream anime and manga communities. People misunderstand shoujo to be simply just rom-coms when they're really not. I've seen a lot of people think a certain anime or manga is a shoujo simply because it happens to be a rom-com, which is not really the case at all. Shoujo can be literally anything it wants. It's simply a set of anime or manga that are targeted and marketed towards a female teenage demographic. It can be anything it wants. It can be a fantasy manga, it can be a historical fiction anime. Shoujo is as vast as anime can be. And today I wanted to discuss with you guys and recommend to you my top 10 shoujo of all time, and in a way showcase the vastness and diversity of shoujo in the process. If you guys are new to shoujo, I hope you enjoy this video and I hope you see it as a representation of sorts of the vastness of the demographic. And I hope you get the recommendations that you are looking for. And if you are a shoujo fan, please let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of this video, what you guys thought of my list, and recommend to me what you guys think I should watch next. Just keep in mind that my list is just very personal in nature and I'm not really rating it depending on the objective quality of it. It's my list, and if you guys have any opinions on it, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, I'll be listing things down in the order of my most high favorite and then dropping down to my least favorite. Because I'm assuming that people who are watching this video don't really care about the order and more so care about the series that I'm talking about. So I thought it was more fun to recommend things in the order of what I like the most. Keep in mind that all the series here are great, and what you might like might not have to be what I like the most. It depends on your taste what series you will prefer over the other. But I will tell you this, the 10 shows that I'm recommending today are all gonna be great, and they are shows that I 100% recommend to anybody who wants to check it out. And now without further ado, let's get to the list now. Okay, starting off with my favorite shoujo of all time, Nana. Nana is an interesting series to have as your favorite shoujo because while it is amazing and while nobody ever denies that it's amazing, Nana fans have a pretty negative reputation among shoujo fans. Nana fans can act really elitist towards their series and they praise it in a way that indirectly slanders other shoujos. Like they say things like, Nana is amazing, it's not like the other shoujos, which is a very messed up way to praise your favorite work, and I can completely see why shoujo fans don't fuck with Nana fans. So, while I am aware that there is an elitism happening in the Nana community, I can't deny the fact that I personally think it's the greatest shoujo that I've experienced in my life so far. The story of Nana is about two young adult women, both named Nana, having completely opposite personalities, somehow ending up deciding to move from their small town to Tokyo in the same day, in the same train, next to each other. They end up being roommates in the huge city of Tokyo. It's consistently amazing from start to finish. I don't think I've personally seen a single episode or a single chapter that I thought was pretty bad or kind of mid. No, they were all amazing from start to finish, and the dialogues are superbly written. It's an emotional roller coaster. Okay, so if you happen to be interested in Nana now, how would I personally suggest you guys to check it out as? Well, there are two different ways that you could check it out, but I'd personally suggest you guys to first watch the anime and then after finishing the anime, continue on with the manga from where the anime left off. But if you are more of a manga fan than an anime fan, then I'd suggest you guys to check out the manga in its entirety instead of checking out the anime. So yeah, that is my number one favorite shoujo of all time. Now let's get to number 2. Picking a series for the number 2 position was one of the hardest decisions that I've had to make in this video. There were two series that were fighting for that spot really fiercely. But since it's a top 10 list, I had to pick one over the other, so I'm going with Rose of Versailles as number 2. This timeless classic anime and manga from the 1970s is a historical fiction series that completely depicts the entirety of French Revolution through the eyes of this wonderful character called Oscar, who happens to be a higher up in the military of France at the time of the French Revolution. One of the most captivating parts about this series, other than its really wonderful depiction of French Revolution, is its amazing female protagonist. Oscar is a character who was born as a girl, but because her father didn't have any male heirs to succeed him, she was raised as a boy her entire life. So it's this story about her understanding who she is, what her identity is, what her position in life is, at a period where one of the greatest revolutions in the history of mankind was happening. I love how accurately French Revolution is depicted in the series, and I love how the interpersonal character arcs of the original characters are dived into really deeply, while this ambitious French Revolution narrative was happening at the same time. It integrates both of these aspects amazingly well. The anime and manga are completed and they're amazingly concluded. It's just a great package of anime and manga. Okay, so now number 3 on this list. This is close to number 2, by the way. I couldn't really decide between number 2 and number 3. They were equally great in my opinion. But yeah, number 3 on this list is Glass Mask. Okay, Glass Mask is an interesting series where I don't think a lot of people in the anime community know about it or they haven't read it yet, but it's actually one of the most popular and one of the best selling mangas of all time. The only reason it's not that popular right now is because it doesn't have a proper full anime adaptation, and the manga is quite old and it's on hiatus. And also the fact that it's a shoujo, I guess. What is Glass Mask about? It's a career manga that surrounds the profession of acting. It's about this teenage girl from a very poor household, trying to be an actress. Her family doesn't want her to pursue a career in acting because, they are from a poor household and it is a difficult profession to succeed in. But the girl, Maya, ends up deciding to leave her own home to pursue a career in acting. It's a very heartfelt, beautiful, grounded story of this mellow girl with low self-esteem and low confidence, trying to be an actress despite her family not supporting her. Following her journey from the start to the end of the 500th chapter was just an amazing experience. It's not just a heartfelt story either, because it kind of is like a competitive sports anime. She meets rival actresses, she has to face her own flaws and get better in it, surpass her limits, and all that good stuff that we expect from a competitive series. It's a very ambitious manga with a very grounded female protagonist. The art in Glass Mask is absolutely amazing as well. It kind of reminds me of the art of Dragon Ball. The artists, the character designs are kind of traditional or kind of basic. They are simple in nature, but they are drawn in a way that expresses so much emotions in every single panel they are drawn in. The flow of the manga from one page to the other, from one panel to the other, is so immaculate, and it's just amazingly drawn. There are a lot of ambitious, acting scenes that happen inside the manga, and they're conveyed so beautifully, so ambitiously. Check it out, the manga, please, if you have the time. There are about 500 chapters, yes, but they are absolutely worth it in my opinion. Okay, so number 4 on this list. This is a series that I adore a lot. It's a favorite of mine, and I kind of feel like I'm cheating on this work for putting it so low on this list. Uh, it's an anime called Natsume Yujincho. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. It's a relatively popular shoujo. Natsume Yujincho is a story about a young orphan boy who has the ability to see ghosts. In Japanese, they are called ayakashis. It's about this young orphan boy who has the ability to see ayakashis having a really difficult childhood because the foster parents around him, thought he was weird or creepy or kind of, mentally unwell. So he was switched from one home to the other, and he had a very messed up childhood. The story starts off with Natsume being a teenager who's in high school, where he finally ends up finding a good home to live in. So the story is essentially about Natsume just interacting with Ayakashis and interacting with his new foster parents and his classmates in school. Nothing really happens in the story, I guess. It's just a feel good anime that dives into a lot of themes about parenting, about friendship, about the importance of bonds, about the importance of being kind to others. The people around him in present day are so wholesome, and it's just an amazing watch. Natsume gatekeeps itself in a weird way because Natsume has around 75 episodes, and not a lot of people are ready to watch 75 episodes of just feel good story. So I'm pretty sure that it won't be super popular, and a lot of people who are watching my video won't really check it out. But yeah, people who do check it out will know how amazing it is. Number 5 on this list is gonna be an anime that people watching this video has probably never heard of before. It's this very, very unknown anime called Fruits Basket. But seriously though, I'm really happy with the success that Fruits Basket has got. It's one of the most successful anime in the last 5 years. And it's a series that fully shows the potential of what shoujo has to offer to the medium of anime if it were given the chance by producers and fans alike. Okay, so for the people who don't know about Fruits Basket, let me explain you guys a little bit about what the series really is about. Fruits Basket is basically a high school drama series about this teenage orphan girl who lives alongside this powerful rich family named the Soma household. But there's a catch here. The Soma household has a really dysfunctional family. All the kids in that household don't have good relationships with their parents. So there's a really interesting dynamic that's been presented from the start, because the main character Toru has had a really great mother, but she's sadly passed away. Meanwhile, the Soma household has a huge family, but they're all in a dysfunctional relationship. So it's this really kind story about the main character trying to help go through the trauma of all of these characters in the household. The series uses this premise to tackle a lot of complicated subject matters like parenting, self-independence, building connections, being your own person, and growing past tragedies. Fruits Basket has a really interesting cast of characters who are all different from each other and who are all fun to be around. Uh, I've found that all of us watching Fruits Basket will relate to at least one of the characters because all of their arcs and all of their problems are quite different from each other while also being very relatable. For me, the character who resonated with me was Yuki. His entire journey of self-independence and growing past his mother complex was amazingly presented throughout the series. While I think the highs of Fruits Basket are amazing and the best character arcs in the series have amazing character arcs, the lows of Fruits Basket are super low as well. For me, I found a lot of the character arcs and the character relationships, kind of lacking nuance and self awareness to it. Like, there are a lot of toxic and age gap relationships which aren't really properly conveyed. We are just supposed to ship for them, even though there's an age gap between. So, there are problems like that in the series. But overall, as a product, it's an amazing series. The series is very kind, it's wonderful, it's cute, it's wholesome. It understands the struggles of people really well. So give it a try if you think you might like it.
The next series on this list is going to be another popular shoujo that most people have probably heard of, if not seen. It's the very iconic and popular fantasy series Akatsuki no Yona. Akatsuki no Yona is one of those shoujos that I consider to be iconic for the demographic in the same way something like Naruto is for shonen. It's probably the most popular modern shoujo right now. It has a great aesthetic to it and the premise is super appealing to most people reading it. Uh, it straight up gives us the impression that shoujo isn't just rom-coms in a very accessible way. The story takes place in a fantasy world with Eastern inspirations to it. The series feels like a Chinese fantasy manga. It follows the tale of this young princess who gets chased away from her own castle by her cousin after he slaughters her father. Yuna has to survive in this world, but she won't be doing it alone. She has Huck with him, her childhood friend, who's also her bodyguard, who also happens to be one of the greatest husbandos in anime. Akatsuki no Yona has great action, it has great romance, it has great political aspects to it. It is a very empowering and inspiring manga. Yona's entire character journey from being a spoiled, naive princess to being someone who genuinely understands the problems her people is facing is a very inspiring tale. The most amazing part about the series, other than Yona's wonderful character development, is the relationship between Yona and Huck. The romance that they have is very healthy and it's very wholesome and it's very empowering. They both support each other in a lot of amazing ways that is both grounded and inspiring at the same time. So if you wanna read a great fantasy manga that has awesome romance in it, Akatsuki no Yona is definitely the series that you need to check out. Now that we're done with the more popular shoujos like Fruits Basket and Akatsuki no Yona, let's go back to the more underappreciated works that deserve more recognition with number 7 on this list, Usotoki Rhetoric. Usotoki Rhetoric is a series that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about at all. Like, I've only seen around 5 people who actually finished it. The only reason that I've read it is because it had an interesting combination of genres that was really appealing to me at the time when I was looking at the synopsis of it. It was also a very short manga, so I thought I had nothing to lose. Usotoki Rhetoric has a very interesting combination of a historical fiction setting and a mystery detective setting combined together to form a really interesting fun narrative. The series is a detective mystery manga set in historical Japan where a detective and a girl who has the ability to tell when a person is lying teams up in order to solve various crimes. It's a series that uses its historical setting really well, and the mysteries are really fun to follow as well. But keep in mind that this is more of a light snack kind of manga. It's not ambitious. I don't think it's a hard to read manga. Just treat this manga as a fun reading experience and nothing more than that, and you will have a blast with it. I might get a lot of flack for putting the series so low in my favorites, but number 8 on my list is gonna be the highly acclaimed Revolutionary Girl Utena. Revolutionary Girl Utena is a series that is generally put in the same pedestal as other amazing masterpiece classics like Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Cowboy Bebop, and Neon Genesis Evangelion. So it's kind of embarrassing for me to put it so low in my list. But let me explain why that is the case. The reason why it's so low on my list is because there were a few aspects about its story that didn't really work well with me as a personal viewer. So the problems that I have with the series are strictly personal in nature. But while I don't think it's a masterpiece, I still think that it's a really good show with a lot of things to offer. It tackles a lot of mature themes, and they're all tackled in really nuanced ways. It tackles toxic relationships, it tackles the problems with idealizing a person, it deconstructs a lot of fairy tale tropes in very interesting, amazing, subversive ways. When I look at the anime from someone else's perspective, it's definitely a brilliant show. From its wonderful artwork to its amazing music to its breathtaking animation sequences. If you end up loving Utena, I'm sure you'll have it high up in your favorites. Okay, so number 9 is Lovely Complex. When I look back at this list, Lovely Complex is the first true rom-com series that I have on my list. So yes, Lovely Complex is my favorite shoujo rom-com. It's a high school rom-com series where the main girl is taller than the main guy, and I love stories like this where the traditional gender norms of a story are broken in very adorable ways. If you are looking for a cute rom-com, definitely check this one out when you get the chance. It's a very adorable series with a very cute cast of characters. The final series on this list is gonna be the hilariously adorable Oren High School Host Club. Oren High School Host Club is a rom-com reverse harem comedy anime about a girl being a part of a host club in a super rich high school. The protagonist of our story ends up breaking a very costly vase in the club room, and she has to be a part of the club in order to pay for the expenses. I watched this show about 12 years ago, and I found the entire concepts of hosts to be really interesting. I was also watching another shoujo at the time called Kaichowa Maid-sama, and both of these series served as a good parallel to each other, and it was also very fascinating for me as an Indian teenage male. We don't really have establishments like these, so it was a very fun watching experience. But even without that, I personally thought that it was a super funny show with a really fun cast of characters who bounced off of each other really well. Right now, looking back at the series, I do think I can see a lot of toxic aspects to it, but I do think it has a lot of great elements to it that make it worth your watch. A lot of the reason why it is this high in my favorites instead of a few other works is because the nostalgia factor plays a huge deal. Nostalgia is a valid reason for liking something as much as we do. Pokemon is one of my favorite anime of all time, even though it is a stinky show. It has a really big place in my heart. Similarly, Oren High School Host Club has a lot of memories for me as a teenager. It was a very fun show. If you want a comedy anime, give it a try, especially if you are a teenager. You might love it. So yeah, these 10 works are my favorite shoujos of all time right now. This video ended up being a lot longer than I initially intended it to be, but I hope you enjoy every moment of it. If you are new to this channel and you ended up watching this much, please consider subscribing to my channel and checking out my future videos. The support would mean a lot. Also, give me all the recommendations that you guys have about great shoujos. I do want to read more shoujos, and maybe after a few months or a couple of years, I'll make this list again and we'll see how different it is from my current list. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching this video.